Barely Sapient here. Today I'm going to review Descent FreeSpace. It is a game from the golden age of space combat sims. So Descent FreeSpace is an old game. It came out in 1998. In its current state, it will run on modern hardware, at least the version on GOG will. And because of its age, it will run on a potato as well. So that's a good thing. This game does fall into a few common tropes that are prevalent in space combat sims. You are a human pilot. You are in the middle of a war. The setting is set somewhere in the distant future, maybe a few centuries ahead, something like that, right? Yeah, all those things are true in this game. So the setting of the game is in the 24th century, and you are a pilot in the Galactic Terran Alliance, a human pilot, of course. And the Galactic Terran Alliance has been at war with the parliamentary Vesudan Empire for the past 14 years. And all of a sudden, a new species shows up and is much more advanced, and that's where the story takes off. When you start the game and either watch or skip the intro cutscene, you'll have to create a pilot. You'll have to type the name in. I've already done so I already have a pilot on the roster. So this is the hangar of the ship that you'll be on. And this is basically the main screen for the game. Now at the top there's a barracks. This is where you can manage your pilots. You can either create one or clone your current pilot, or remove, delete, etc., etc. And you can look at stats and things like that if you want to. Change their picture if you want. Now just below that is in that hangar door, behind that bulkhead, there is the campaign selections. And you have the main FreeSpace campaign and Silent Threat. The GOG and Steam versions these days will come with the expansion pack, which was Silent Threat back in the day. That's some extra missions. And then at the bottom in the middle there is the ready room. This is where you're going to go to your current mission and get a briefing, and then actually go and enter a mission and do your thing as a pilot. On the middle right, you have the tech room. This is where you can take a look at all the different ships that you've encountered and all the ships that you have in your fleet and get stats on those. You also have a mission simulator. And this has a number of single-player missions that you can engage in to get some practice if you want. Also, you can watch various cutscenes if you want to rewatch those. And of course it has the game credits if you're interested in that. And then at the bottom right, of course, you have your options. This is where you can change difficulty level. You change your sound effects.
Affirmative, sir.
I gotta turn that off so I can actually talk here. You can change your joystick sensitivity. It's dead zone. You can turn the mouse on or off or whatever for flight. You can set up multiplayer games if you want to. This is obviously Parallax Online is not around anymore. There might be some servers online for that. I'm not sure. As far as you can change the graphics settings as well. Now on modern hardware, you should just have everything turned all the way up. It'll run it no problem. This is again a game from 1998. This 3D acceleration hadn't been out that long, so any modern computer can handle it pretty well. And then of course you can exit the game on the bottom left there. On the main FreeSpace campaign, campaign briefings and mission briefings are all voice acted.
Operation Thresher in the Atari system did not proceed as planned. Terran Command estimates Terran losses at 504 pilots dead, 14 missing, and presumed dead. The Vasudin foothold on Vasudin Prime and subspace node remains solid. Pilot Aten, welcome to the GTD Galatée. Your first assignment as part of the Galatée's crew is to stand the third. Fadeaway has arrived, awaiting orders.
All communications in flight are voice acted as well, so that's kind of cool. At the beginning of a game, if you select the main FreeSpace campaign, you have the option of doing training. This is where you learn some of the keyboard shortcuts that are important. If you've played the game before or you just want to skip the training, you can also do that as well. One thing to keep in mind is there is a PDF in the game directory that shows all the keyboard commands. Not only that, you can go to the options, you go to controls config, and you can see all the different controls, whether the keyboard or your joystick, if you have one. There's basically 4 different categories. A lot of these will be important. The miscellaneous one. These basically shift and a letter is your communication. And since your wingmen are actually competent in this game, these keyboard shortcuts are quite useful. So early off in the game, you are just fighting a war against the Vasudins. And it seems like both sides have about equal technological levels and have the same types of superiority fighters, same types of weapons. And it seems to be a fairly evenly matched type of war that you've been stuck in for the last decade and a half. You'll get your regular types of missions. This one, for instance, is protecting one of your capital ships against enemy fighters. One of the cool things is in mission you can rearm if you run out of missiles and stuff like that, and they can do also minor repairs. Sometimes you will run out of missiles, and if you press Shift R, a support ship will come in and dock with you and rearm. Sometimes you have to wait because you'll be in a queue with other fighters, but you can rearm, and that can be useful for longer missions. In the first part of the game, this war against the Vasudins seems almost too easy. The opponents are barely competent, and their weapons are okay, I guess. When this game first came out, reviewers gave praise to the game's AI, especially the Wingman's AI, and the explosions. They looked really cool, I suppose, compared to other games of the era. And I think that's actually kind of true. Now, as far as the game being easy, the one thing you have to remember early on, since you don't have shields, don't get too close to capital ships when they explode. That could be deadly. This is what happened here. I'm in I think it's the 3rd or 4th mission in the game, and I'm about to destroy, it looks like a cargo cruiser for a Vasudin cargo cruiser. And I'm getting real close, taking some shots, and I got too close and, well, I died. Sometimes, if you perform well enough during a mission, command will give you a medal. So about the 5th mission into the game, the unknowns start coming. And at first they attack the Vasudins in this mission and wipe the floor with them pretty quickly. Then they come after you, and they have shields and better weapons, and seem utterly unconcerned with your weapons fire. And why should they be? Because you can't even damage them. And if you do survive the mission, you barely accomplish it. So, in the first 4 missions of the gameplay is fairly easy, and you never feel threatened by the Vesudans. And then the unknowns come, and well, they're known as the Shivans, by the way. That's what Command calls them, because you just don't know anything about them. The gameplay changes, and it just gets harder, and the game becomes better for it. It's more challenging. After you get far enough in the game, you'll have access to 4 fighters and a bomber, and they all have their different strengths and weaknesses. You will also have access to a lot of different weapons. Definitely a lot more than what you start off with. You start off with just lasers and heat-seeking missiles. Now you have access to a lot of different energy weapons, as well as a lot of different types of missiles. You have regular dumbfire missiles and heat seekers that you start off with, and then you get swarm missiles, a couple of more accurate interceptor missiles, and you also get some cluster bombs and some big bombs for the bomber as well. Oh, so it's actually 2 bombers. I forgot about the second one. If you have an old laptop that still runs Windows XP or was made for Windows XP, this game will run on it. The GOG version that you can download as a backup, an offline backup, right? This will run on Windows XP, and that's great because this game will run on much weaker hardware. Now, I did try to run this on Linux on this same hardware, and it just did not get very good performance. In XP, it's almost a lock 60. So, for reference, my potato is a laptop with an AMD E450 series CPU. It's a very weak dual-core processor from AMD. Mobile. It was only an 18-watt chip. It came out in 2011. Apparently, it's slightly faster than a Pentium 4 from 2005. Actually slower at single core, according to this benchmark here. I believe it because it really struggles running anything resembling a modern operating system. Okay, so in Linux, as you can see, the frame rate is already roughly sits about 30. And that's what it starts at. When it starts seeing action, it drops into the teens. So this is much worse performance on this machine. Much worse performance. Not even close. If you have anything resembling a modern graphics card, not a display adapter from the last 15 years, and a decent CPU, this game will run flawlessly. At least the GOG version will. I imagine the Steam version would too. You can usually pick this game up for about $10, unless it's on sale. You can get it, and then you can get it for cheaper. It is a great game to play, and it has a sequel which is even better. So, Descent FreeSpace is a fun space combat sim. If you've ever played the Wing Commander series or any of the Star Wars space combat sims from the era, this makes you feel like you could lose a lot more often than those two do. The story makes you feel like there's more on the line, if that makes any sense, than those two ever did. And that's what makes it great. And the good thing is there's also a sequel which is even better. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and comments are always welcome.